Guys, Bruce the Budget Aquarist here. Want to have a real quick high-tech video because a conversation came up talking about stick-on thermometers, which is what these are going to be. These are going to be my aquariums, okay? And how accurate are they? And also talking about the accuracy of laser thermometers, okay? First of all, lasers do not read through the glass. The red light on a laser pointer is simply a pointing device. The infrared device you can't see, it will not go through glass. Okay, so you are not reading the inside temperature of your fish tank when you point it at that glass. You need to physically open the lid, aim down into the water. They all vary, but usually about 10 inches away, and that'll give you a pretty accurate idea of what your temperature is. Now, I was trying to explain to somebody that these stick-on ones are actually reading the outside temperature or a combination of the temperature in the tank and the outside air. And the only way I can prove that to you and show that they are not very accurate is the following way. Let's imagine you have a fish tank here and it's, let's say it's heated to 80 degrees, okay? And you take that fish tank and you move it into a room 4 foot underneath a air conditioner vent, and that air conditioning is just constantly blowing on your stick-on thermometer. Well, what's going to happen is your stick-on thermometer is going to lower down to whatever that AC vent air is blowing. If it's blowing 74 degrees, it's going to show about 74 degrees on that stick-on thermometer. The water temperature is not going to be 74 degrees, okay? But that thermal barrier of the glass, your heater is going to keep that water up there about 80 degrees, and that thing is still going to show real low. Conversely, let's look at it this way. You take your fish tank, and you got your fish tank here heated to 78 degrees, and you go down and you set it up, and about 4 or 5 foot away is a heater vent, or a hair dryer in this case. If you want to prove this to yourself, take a hair dryer or a heater vent, slowly move it towards your thermometer. The thermometer, let's say it maxes out at about 93 degrees Fahrenheit, which is pretty typical for these stick-ons. Within very, very short order is going to be showing a steady, 93 degrees whenever you get that hair dryer close enough for it to read that, okay? Now, the water temperature inside that tank is not going to be anywhere near 93 degrees. I suppose eventually it could if you have, a heater constantly blowing on that glass, but that also is going to depend on the size of the aquarium, the surface area, because chances are that heat is hitting that front glass, then it's dissipating. You still have the back and the sides and the top dissipating the heat, so that thing's not going to get that hot. But I want to point this out because people who have stick-on thermometers should be wary of that, the fact that those things are taking a combination of your outside temperature and your water temperature. Now, is this a real big deal? No, it isn't, except for one thing. What if your stick-on thermometer is constantly showing 82 degrees, which would be at the high end for many varieties of fish? Well, come to find out, you also have a breeze constantly blowing that's cooling this down. So in fact, this is reading 82 degrees, but the water temperature is 86 degrees. This could explain why your fish are dying. Again, these are extreme examples, but it's something to think about when you are if you're having problems with fish, you're having problems with algae, things that could be, from too much heat. And in addition, if you are someone who is going to be breeding fish, a lot of times one of the methods to get fish to breed is to increase the water temperature. So a lot of times people keep a temperature about 74, 75 degrees, and then when they want their fish to breed, they will raise the temperature to 80. Well, if you raise your temperature to 80 and you're relying on this outside source, again, it could be higher or lower depending on what is affecting that what sort of airflow is hitting that that stick-on thermometer. So thanks very much for your time. If you have any questions, please leave a comment. But again, I just want to get this out there for new people who may rely too heavily on stick-on thermometers. The way to take a temperature is to test the water itself, not to test the glass on the outside. That's really it. Unless, of course, by the way, you believe your water is 78 degrees and your room temperature is 78 degrees. Then your thermometer is going to be perfectly accurate. But if your room is kept cooler, chances are your thermometer is not accurate. So be careful of hot and cold air blowing directly on those things. They can give you inaccurate readings. Matter of fact, I've seen folks recently that have had a big line of tanks, and right in the middle, for some reason, one tank is showing much hotter than the rest, and very often that's the cause. There's a big light or something up above that's shining down, heating up the front of that glass, or there's a heater vent or something else that's causing that. So hope this makes sense to people. In my opinion, tape-on are adequate, but that's just about it. Stick-on thermometers, that is. And again, if you're going to use your laser pointer thermometer, open the lid, keep the thing about 8 or so inches away from the water, and point it, hold it down for several seconds, and that's going to give you a pretty decent temperature. So thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to comment. Take care.